So you spend 4 years, sometimes 5, sometimes 6. You read the books, you pass the exams, you walk across that stage, your mother cries, your father's chest swells with pride, the whole family shows up. Then you come home and you stay there. Weeks turn into months, applications go unanswered, connections lead nowhere. A certificate that was supposed to change everything is sitting in a drawer. And slowly, quietly, something starts to shift inside you. The confidence you had on graduation day starts to erode, and you begin to wonder if the whole thing was a lie. This video is about that moment, and the millions of Ghanaians graduates living inside it right now. Because what's happening to Ghana's educated youth is not a personal failure story. It's a national crisis. We need to talk about it properly. Here's what we are going to cover today. We are going to look at why Ghana keeps producing graduates it can't absorb, what's actually happening inside the job market that nobody tells you before you enroll, and why the traditional advice, work hard, get the degree, the rest will follow, is failing an entire generation. But we are also going to go somewhere more interesting, because there are graduates in Ghana right now who cracked the code, not by leaving the country, not by giving up, but by completely rethinking what their degree was actually for. And by the end of this video, I want you to walk away with a clearer picture of the problem and the real sense that there's a way through it. Alright, let's get into it. Here's the thing that doesn't add up. Ghana has been investing in education for decades. We built universities, we expanded polytechnics, we introduced free SHS to get more young people into the pipeline. By every enrollment metric, we are producing more educated young people than at any point in our history. And yet, graduate unemployment keeps rising. The queue outside every government job posting gets longer. The number of degree holders doing work completely unrelated to what they studied keeps growing. So we have more graduates, fewer of them finding meaningful work. How does that happen? And here's the question that really got me. If the degree isn't opening doors anymore, why are families still sacrificing everything to get one? And more importantly, is there something fundamentally broken in how we've designed the entire system? Because when I dug into this, the answer I found was not what I expected. There are 4 layers to this, and they all feed each other. Layer 1. The economy isn't growing fast enough to absorb graduates. Now, let's start with the most basic truth. Ghana's former economy, the part with structured jobs, salaries, contracts, benefits, is simply not expanding fast enough to employ the number of graduates we are producing every year. The public sector, which used to be the default destination for university graduates, has been under a hiring freeze or operating with strict headcount limits for years. The austerity measures tied to IMF programs have made it worse. Government aren't hiring the way they used to, and the private sector is growing, but slowly, informally, and concentrated in a few industries. The tech sector is small. Manufacturing never scaled the way it should have. Financial services employ a fraction of what they could. So you have a pipeline producing roughly 50,000 to 70,000 new graduates per year, flowing into an economy that formally absorbs maybe a third of that. The rest either enter the informal economy, stay unemployed, or wait, sometimes for years. This is not a graduate problem. This is a structural mismatch between what the education system produces and what the economy actually needs. Now, layer 2. Degrees are being produced without a market signal. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. When a student in Ghana chooses a course of study, they are largely choosing based on prestige and tradition, not on labor market data. The most desirable degrees are still law, medicine, accounting, general arts, administration. These have been the prestige degrees for 40 years. But the economy has changed. Industries have changed. The skills that are equally scarce and therefore valuable are in areas like software development, data analysis, recreation, agriculture, logistics, renewable energy, and advanced manufacturing. And yet our universities are still fueling the majority of students into the same traditional programs. Not because those programs are useless, but because there is no real feedback loop between the university system and the job market. In countries that have solved this, universities publish real employment outcome data. Employers partner with institutions to design curricula. Students can see before they enroll what happens to graduate each program 5 years out. In Ghana, most students are making one of the biggest decisions of their lives almost completely blind. Layer 3, the certificate becomes the goal, not the skill. This one is cultural and it runs deep. Somewhere along the line, the degree became the destination, not the competence, not the capability. The paper. Families sacrifice for the certificate. Students endure for the certificate. And institutions under pressure to pass students maintain enrollment numbers, justify their existence, started optimizing for certificate too. The result is a system producing graduates who have attended lectures, passed exams, and earned credentials, but who in many cases have never solved a real problem, built a real thing, or worked in a real environment before entering the job market. And employers know this, which is why you will see job postings for entry-level positions requiring 3 years to 5 years of experience. That's not employers being unreasonable. That's employers saying the degree no longer tells me anything reliable about whether you can actually do the work. So graduates are caught in an impossible loop. Can't get experience without a job, can't get a job without experience, and the degree thing they were told would unlock everything is no longer the key used to be. Now therefore, nobody teaches you what comes after. Yes, 4 years of university and almost no structured preparation for the actual job market. No mandatory internship pipelines, no career counseling with real teeth, no alumni networks actively mentoring new graduates, no practical financial literacy. So when young graduates do get opportunity, they often know how to negotiate. They often don't know how to negotiate, how to manage income, how to build on the first step. The university gets you graduation day, and its essential waves goodbye. Compare that to institutions in Germany, Singapore, South Korea, where career integration starts in the second year, where internships are mandatory and industry connected, where the transition from students to professional is related as something the institution is irresponsible for, not just the student. In Ghana, that transition is left entirely to individual hustle and family connections, which means the graduate with the right last name or the right church connections land on their feet, and everyone else goes for the best. So that's the real picture. It's not that Ghanaian graduates aren't smart enough. It's not that they are not working hard enough. It's that they've been inserted into a broken pipeline, and then told the failure is personal, isn't it? But here's what I keep coming back to. Every system produces outliers, and Ghana's broken graduate pipeline has produced some fascinating ones. I've been looking at a specific group of graduates who people come out of the same struggling system, face the same locked doors, and did something completely different. Not all of them left the country. Not all of them came from money or connections. What they did was reframe the question entirely. Instead of asking, who will hire me? They started asking, what problem can I solve? And who will pay me to solve it? That sounds simple, but the mindset shift requires it, and the mindset shift it requires is enormous, and the support structure that make it possible or make it nearly impossible are worth looking at very closely. In the next video, I'm going into the specific strategies that are actually working for Ghanaian graduates right now, the skills that are genuinely in demand, the platforms and pathways that didn't exist 10 years ago, the policy changes that could scale what's working from a few hundred people to a few thousand people, 100,000 people, because Ghana's graduates are not the problem. They might actually be the solution if you stop wasting them. If you're a graduate sitting at home right now, sending applications into silence, I want you to hear something clearly. The system failed you, not the other way around. And that matters, not because it removes your responsibility to keep moving. It doesn't. But because you can't fix a problem you've misdiagnosed. You can't outwork the structural issue by just working harder on the wrong things. Understanding what's actually happening is step one. And that's exactly what this channel is for. If these conversations are kind you want to keep having, subscribe, please. Share this with a graduate who needs to see it, and drop a comment below. I want to know, are you a graduate navigating this right now? What's your experience been? What do you wish someone had told you before you enrolled? Your story matters. It belongs in this conversation.